I thought it was just another normal night. Then 1 second changed everything. I remember the crash, and then nothing. When I opened my eyes,
She looked familiar, but I couldn't remember why. Then a memory came back. She was the girl who believed in me, before anyone else did.
she wasn't just the doctor who saved my life. She was the girl I never forgot. And when I finally asked her to dinner, her answer changed everything.
I didn't even see the other car. 1 second I was driving, next second, glass everywhere, my head against the window, and a sound I still can't describe.
Not a crash, more like the world just ended. For a moment, I remember someone pulling my door open, cold air.
A voice saying my name, asking if I could hear them. I could, I just couldn't answer. Then the lights went out. When I opened my eyes again, the ceiling was white. The smell was medicine and something bleach clean that hit the back of my throat. My right arm had a needle in it. My chest felt like someone had parked a truck on it. I was in a hospital. I didn't know which one. I didn't know what time it was. I didn't know how bad it was. I tried to sit up. Bad idea. My shoulder screamed at me, and I fell back against the pillow. A nurse came in. Young, tired eyes. She told me to stay still. You had an accident. You're safe. Just don't move yet. So I didn't move. I lay there staring at the ceiling, trying to count the tiles, trying to feel something other than the dull, heavy pain in my chest.
Then, the door opened again.
She came in reading something on a tablet. White coat, dark hair tied back, dark back hair.
She was talking to the nurse behind her. Something about my scan results, something about the collarbone. I watched her without saying anything. There was something about the way she moved. Quick but not rushed, like someone who had been doing this for years and still hadn't gotten bored of it.
She came closer and looked at the monitor first. Then she looked at me. She had a mask on, pulled down under her chin. Standard hospital stuff. Her eyes went to my face and she started to say something. I think it was a routine question, the kind doctors ask 100 times a day. Then she stopped. Not for long, maybe 2 seconds, but I noticed. She looked at me the way you look at someone when you're trying to decide if you're imagining something. She finished her question. She wrote something down. Her hands were steady. Her voice was steady. But she didn't make eye contact again after that.
Before she left, she said, "We'll do one more check in an hour. Try to rest."
The nurse followed her out. I lay there in the quiet, and I thought, I know her from somewhere. I just didn't know where yet. It came to me at 2 in the morning. I don't know why the middle of the night. Maybe it's because the hospital goes quiet and your brain finally has room to think. Maybe it's because I'd been staring at the ceiling long enough that my mind started going through old folders. Her name was Rania Malik. We went to the same school for 2 years. I was 16, she was 15. She sat 3 rows in front of me in biology. She wore her hair differently back then, loose, always falling over her notes. She used to get annoyed when the boys near the back made noise because she was actually trying to listen. I was one of the boys near the back. We didn't talk much, not properly. There was one week, the week before final exams, where the teacher made us pair up for a revision session. She got me. She was not happy about it. I could tell from the way she sat down and immediately reorganized all her notes so they were facing away from me. "You don't study," she said. Not a question. "I study," I said, "just not biology." She gave me a look that was equal parts tired and unimpressed. She had a point. "You have 4 days. Start now." So we studied. Or she studied and I watched her explain things until they actually made sense to me. That week I passed biology for the first time all year. She didn't make a big deal of it. She just moved on. But I didn't forget her. I don't think you forget the people who look at you like you're capable of more than you're showing. After school ended, she disappeared. Her family moved, I heard, or she changed schools. I was never sure. One day she was there and then she wasn't, and at 16 you tell yourself that's just how life goes. Lying in that hospital bed 11 years later, I understood that I had never actually stopped thinking about her. Not every day, but more than I'd admitted to myself. She came back at 7. I was awake. I'd barely slept. She came in alone this time, no nurse behind her. She had a coffee in her left hand, the plastic hospital kind. She came back at 7. I was awake. I'd barely slept. She came in alone this time, no nurse behind her. She had a coffee in her left hand, the plastic hospital kind. And she looked like she'd been here all night. She checked the monitor. She asked me how the pain was. She looked at my arm where the needle was. I said, Rania Malik. She went still. Her hand was on the edge of my bed, and she just stopped moving. Then slowly she looked at me. You remember, she said. You helped me pass biology, I said. I never forgot that. Something moved across her face, not quite a smile. More like something she'd been holding carefully finally shifting. She pulled the plastic chair over and sat down, which surprised me. Doctors, in my experience, don't usually sit. They stand near the door, ready to leave. How bad is it? I asked. The real question, the one I hadn't asked yet. Fractured collarbone, 3 cracked ribs, a cut on your head that needed 8 stitches. She paused. The car looked worse than you. That's good? That's very good. We were quiet for a moment. When did you know? I asked. The second I walked in, she said. Your name on the chart. You could have said something. She looked at the coffee in her hand. I'm your doctor right now. I needed to be your doctor first. I thought about that. The discipline of it. The deliberate choice to be professional when everything personal must have been pulling in the other direction. Fair, I said. She stood. She had other patients, other rooms, other people who needed her to be their doctor first. At the door, she stopped. She turned back and looked at me once more. Not the doctor look, the other one. The one she'd had when she first walked in and stopped moving for 2 seconds. Get some rest, she said. I'll be back this afternoon. I watched the door close after her. My chest hurt from the ribs. That wasn't the only reason it was tight. She came back at 3. This time she had the file. This time there were forms, discharge planning, things to sign. All of it practical, all of it correct. But she also had a pen she kept clicking, which I don't think she noticed she was doing. We talked around it for 20 minutes. The follow-up appointment, the physio for the shoulder, the things I should and shouldn't do for the next 6 weeks. Then she put the file down. Can I ask you something? She said. Yes. What are you doing with your life now? Not cold, genuinely curious, the same way she'd been curious about why I wouldn't study biology. Like she was checking if I'd done better than my potential suggested. Software, my own company, small. She raised an eyebrow, slightly. You started a company. You sound surprised. I'm not surprised, she said. I told you that you were capable of more than you were showing. I remembered. I hadn't known she thought that at the time. You never told me that, I said. I thought it, she said. I should have said it. The room was quiet. The monitor beeped. Somewhere down the hall a phone rang twice and stopped. Rania. She looked at me. I'd like to take you to dinner, I said, when I can walk without wincing, if that's something you'd consider. She was quiet, for long enough that I thought I'd read it wrong. Then, I have a rule about patience. How long does someone have to be a former patient? She almost smiled. Ask me again in 3 weeks. She picked the file back up. She walked to the door, and this time when she looked back, the smile was fuller. Still controlled. Rania Malik was always controlled, but fuller. 3 weeks, I said. 3 weeks, she said. I called her 22 days later. Not 21. I didn't want to seem like I'd been counting. She answered on the second ring. Neither of us said anything for a moment. Then she said, "You waited." I said I would. We met at a restaurant neither of us had been to before. Her suggestion, neutral ground. She came in wearing something dark and simple, and she looked like a completely different person without the white coat and the hospital behind her. Same eyes, though. Same way of looking at you, like she's deciding something. We talked for 2.5 hours about school, about the biology exam, about what happened after. Her family had moved quickly, a difficult period. She didn't go into detail, and I didn't push. About the years between then and now, about the fact that we had lived in the same city for 4 years and hadn't crossed paths once, until the night a car ran a red light and sent me into a barrier. "Do you believe in that kind of thing?" she asked. "That things happen for a reason?" I didn't, I said. I do now. She looked at her coffee cup. Rania. She looked up. "I'm glad it was you," I said. She didn't say anything for a moment. Then she reached across the table and covered my hand with hers. Just for a second. Then she pulled it back and picked up her cup like it hadn't happened. But it had happened, and we both knew it. The restaurant stayed open until midnight. We were the last table. I walked her to her car. The night was cold and clear. No rain, the street quiet. At her door, she turned around. She was close enough that I can see she was making a decision. I didn't say anything. I let her make it. She said, "Call me tomorrow." Not dinner, not a date word. Just, "Call me tomorrow." I said I would. She got in her car. I stood there in the cold until her taillights turned the corner. 11 years, 1 accident, 1 hospital ceiling. Some things don't find you when you're ready. They find you when you're finally out of excuses.